Hey, good morning, Dreamweavers. It's Craig here. Had some really crazy goal-setting strategy that went on this weekend, and I want to share that with you because I think it'll help you in developing a plan for your week. You see, not every goal that you have has to be some crazy, monumental bucket list item. When it comes to just the week or the weekend, you're going to have several small tasks or goals that you're going to lay out to try and get accomplished. And you can really maximize the efficiency of that period of time and getting the most done by having a proper plan in place and using some goal setting strategy. That's what happened to me this weekend. I started with lots of goals, and it began with a plan. It began with writing these things down. And I had a list. I had clear and measurable goals in place, but still it almost went sideways because what I was lacking is kind of the motivation and inspiration, because again, some of these things are more like chores rather than accomplishments. That said, I enlisted one of the other key attributes of goal setting strategy, which is community, to help me get that done, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But when it comes to your week, though, and the goal setting strategy, let's begin with having a plan. Having that plan in place is key. You can't just allow the week to happen around you, but take some authority into what you want out of this week. How do you want this week to go, and what do you want to see accomplished by the end? And then, just like me this weekend, you need to write that down so that it is clear and precise what you want out of the week, and it also becomes somewhat contractual by having written it down. It also becomes very measurable, or it needs to be very measurable. How do you have a sense of achievement? How do you know whether or not that task is completed or partially completed so that it's not ambiguous? And when I say partially, I think that's key, because that was really a result of my weekend, is adaptability. You're going to have a list of things, and life will happen to some extent. Priorities will get rearranged, etc. And you need to be adaptable to that, and then allow the outcomes to change based on outside circumstances. So, that said, I did get a lot done this week, and a lot of it was just like paperwork and things like that. So again, lacking in the motivation and inspiration, but I knew that, and so I made up for it in other areas, enlisting community and sticking to the measurable aspect of the goal setting strategy. But where I really learned the most was not from anything that I had done, but from a 9-year-old. Let me show you that. This is a leprechaun trap. Now, my daughter had it in her mind that she wanted to catch a leprechaun. Well, that is a specific goal, to catch a leprechaun. That is a measurable goal. Did you, in fact, catch a leprechaun? An achievable goal. If it can be done, I'm sure she would find a way. A realistic goal. A time-sensitive goal, only on St.Patricks's Day. And so that's what my daughter did. She managed to contrive this leprechaun trap with a little help from her mom and dad, and she did in fact catch herself a leprechaun. Now, unbeknownst to her, the leprechaun trap did have an escape hatch, which he found and was able to break himself out of. So no pot of gold this time, but nonetheless, it was a goal set out and achieved by a 9-year-old. And that is a key lesson from the eyes of a child, is creativity. Creativity, or a sense of wonder, can be applied to any goal, dream, or aspiration that you may have. And I think that is really going to help you in getting it accomplished, seeing it through to the end. It's just by adding a little bit of life to it. So rely on the wisdom of a toddler or a child, and add a little pizzazz to those dreams, goals, and aspirations of yours, even those that you have lined up for this week. Who knows? You might even catch a leprechaun.